Hello, Repop. We are going to talk about a topic near and dear to my teenage heart. This is how video game tech has kind of slowed down in recent years, most notably in new gen consoles. Old gen consoles, if you bought a new console, you're buying a completely different dimension. We invented dimensions of games between different generations from PS1 to PS2 to PS3. It was all completely different, and uh, the technology that was amazing back then, and the focus of it was on just graphics, more hardware power, and that kind of thing. And it was really impressive in a trailer. And I thought that at the end of every generation, I thought, no way graphics could ever get better. Little did 12-year-old me know that there was two more consoles generations where that would come true. But eventually, uh, it did get to a point where graphics aren't getting better anymore. Because, well, the industry has kind of stalled in technological leaps and has focused in other areas. And what I was hoping is that we would reach that sooner than later and give up on graphics and start focusing on the cool shit, like bigger player servers. We kind of got that with a couple games, or better AI and not AGI. You fuck. Uh, and I had so much hope. It it clouded my judgment. What can I say? 2009, we had Call of Pripyat, where enemies were so interesting in their design that they would have kind of their own goals, and it made the world so living and breathing. You didn't get anything like this in like Elder Scrolls. They tried to do this, but it seems like they uh, decided to cut it out. If you watch their documentaries, they talk about super detailed NPCs that walk their dog.
Exist no matter if you're there or not. They're doing what they're supposed to do. You can send a guy off to a dungeon to kill stuff, and you don't have to go with him. You go back to that dungeon, either he'll be dead or the things that he was supposed to kill will be dead.
And that's cut down to, they do walk their dog, but it's just a NPC set path. There's Goblin War mechanic in the game. If you don't know about it, it's still in the game. It's worth looking that up. But the Goblin War mechanic is nothing of what it used to be. They don't rove around the map and actually do anything. Uh, and okay, maybe my judgment is really focused on this era. Maybe we do have similar stuff like this, but it's been flying under my radar. This era of games had a lot going on for it, now that I'm looking it up. But we also had Fear from around that generation. We also had Halo Reach, which was really, really good. Firefight was the NPCs. You watch them go through so many different animations. They flank you. They do context-sensitive dialogue, that's pretty advanced, and it makes it just a joy to fight all these monsters and creatures. And you know what? I thought it would only go up from there. Some honorable mentions I'll drop in is, I think Alien Isolation is renowned for having a pretty good alien in it. I don't play scary games. It makes me pee myself. And unfortunately, I kind of struggle to think of other titles. I think Crisis 1, if you don't use invisibility, might be pretty good. Invisibility in games kind of just kills AI in everything. Is what it is. But I'm an expert here with Stalker, so that game is probably where I'll focus the rest of this. And when I'm talking about this AI, I'm not talking about its efficacy or how good it is, anything like that. There's a ton of chess robots. I don't know if I would really call a chess robot smart for beating everybody else at chess. It's just programmed with all the most statistically best things. I wouldn't call an aimbot smart either, but I call these things smart because they're just great actors. They know what to be for what they are, and add so much character to its world. Such as the dogs are actively hunting things in like packs. They'll run away when they're scared. They grab people and hide them in bushes and eat them. It's not super crazy, but that's really interesting to watch it happen around all the other complex things. Like the NPCs that you fight are what take the cake here for the most part, because they actively use cover, they actively flank you from multiple positions. They use grenades to get you to move and then shoot you. They will camp and wait. Sometimes they actively stalk you, and follow you just across the map quietly. They can be a little bit exploitative. They definitely are being fed information that they don't have, such as like if you use any healing item, they seem to rush. If you use any reload, they seem to rush, which is a little more fair because you can at least hear a reload. They also, I'm reading that they can know where you're facing, and if you're facing a different direction, I think they might rush you. Hopefully I'm not giving the bag away on like how to exploit these things. I haven't done that. I've played the game a fair bit, but I keep coming back to it because it's just like such a fun sandbox for yourself, and they make the game so much more replayable when they kind of almost feel like you're fighting real people. Holding points and like predicting a flank, that's kind of a skill I would only do in like Counter-Strike or like a PvP game. And I actually get to live it up here without dealing with other people, which is fantastic. I hate people. There's definitely some critiques you could levy at the game. The AI is very like accurate. They're not really phased by foliage, it seems, and it can just feel like they're pinpoint knowing your location from like 400 miles away. But I mean, it gives them one advantage over you, and you're going to be way more mobile because your player speed is so much faster. You have more than one healing item. You have like 70 grenades you could exploit. You have a lot you can do to deal with them. So them having a couple little bonuses, I guess I'm cool with. And it ends up being my favorite game, literally, of like all time, just because of the NPCs and the way the open world works. We got really lucky and we got a second Stalker game. Doesn't have any of these features. They just kind of walk at you and shoot at you. Still a fun game, but it's not the same, not even close. Hopefully the new updates will come and bring that in. It's more likely that we're gonna get like half of maybe what we want on our Christmas list, and then, you know, modders will save the day and then they'll make it like a full like Stalker game. We do have new text with like AGI, but they kind of like they feel very mimicry. They kind of mimic human patterns, which is what their specialty is. They don't seem to be too unexpected. Street Fighter 6 has this feature, and it might have done more harm than good for Street Fighter, but you can kind of play against yourself and your own typical actions. It's still really easy to beat, and it doesn't really feel like you're fighting a person because they go through like the motions a bit too often. Some people do that too, but yeah, I don't know. It's a little bit doomery of a topic because it's like all of these games are like from 10 years ago. But the reason we maybe don't see these things is, how do you advertise that a game has interesting non-player actors like this? It's so much easier to show like the 10,000 polygon grades. You can communicate that in like seconds, buddy. And communicating that like an AI is adaptive and responsive, you can say that. You can say like, this AI is awesome, it's next gen. But like proving it is another thing, and really like advertising it in a pop way is harder. So getting bigger audiences, it's probably more maximal to just show the graphics, which is what we've done. But that's really slowing down. So I'm kind of hoping that people will start to look for new features in games. Maybe like fun is a good new feature. Maybe we should focus on fun. But AI, real AI, it's not real AI, but like my definition that I've cozied up to, my old definition. I'm hoping that we can see innovation and watch this like tech tree of games grow in new directions, because it's heavily, heavily, heavily diminished returns, and no one's seeming that excited about how these new games are looking, even though we constantly critique any game that does look like shit. But I'm feeling hopeful. The focus on like, RTX, nobody likes Unreal Engine 5. Like, look at that. Look at how negative the reaction is to it. It is pretty. It's very pretty. Stalker 2 looks better than the other Stalker games. Arguably, I like the retro look, but a lot of people will be respecting a more photorealistic style. It was photorealistic for its time, but the body proportions are definitely really, really jank. And, they look more like the ogres that they're supposed to be rather than the ogres that they're not supposed to be. But yeah, that's all I had to say. Bye.